Hello, Video Diary. So, 6 months ago, today, or on this date, like I said, time moves forward. There's no repetition, it's more like a spiral. But 6 months ago, it was a Friday, and I I had worked the night before long into the evening. I'm removing a cat hair. Long into the evening. It was just an occurrence where a friend of mine needed me to bang out a painting job inside of an apartment. I have a regular job where I'm like an art director for music, but this was something I could do in one day. And so that night, I even thought about calling my son many times. But since I was like listening to something about pyramids or something and working, I had like knee pads on and I was like really crunching for time because I wanted to get out of there. It was like a 14-hour day. I got paid more on that day than I remember getting paid for a Labor Day. For music, I've gotten more, but for a Labor Day of just my labor. And I like working. I like working. I used to be, I worked in construction, I worked in painting, carpentry. My teacher, George Morel, saw my hands once, and he was like, look, if you're serious about the guitar, you need to stop. Stop that. I thought he would have been like really proud that I was like working and playing the guitar, but he was very clear. Make your money a different way. For this, if you're going to be a guitarist. So I came home that night. I bought myself some food and I ate right over here with my wife next to me. We were watching TV. It was late. And Forrest had probably already shot up because he was out just a few feet from his front window, like out in a cul-de-sac playing softball until about 1 in the morning. He took a shower. He went into his room. And he shot up. And I don't know where he shot up, but according to my daughter, he had been shooting up in his legs so that people wouldn't be able to notice. I keep saying how stupid I feel for not having picked up on it and thinking myself so sharp. I see what I want to see. And he was hiding it. It's made me really reevaluate how honest I think people are being. I mean, I never assumed a high level of honesty between people. Something around, I don't know, 50%, but maybe it's less, much less. This was a secret. He wasn't proud of it, or he would have shared it. Anyway, the next day I went to sleep. It was weird going to sleep that night. I felt very odd. I had been working out a lot, and also this job, and I had just played, all that was going on. I thought life was amazing right then. I was like, wow, I can earn a little side money. I've got these gigs. My son is in his last year of school. What could go wrong? Should have called him that night. But I don't think it would have stopped him. I felt like a psychic wall. Even that night I was trying to reach him, somehow inside myself, because I always felt connected. And like I said, those months, right then I was distracted. Only in the sense of really drilling in, and I don't know. I thought things were good. I thought things were great. The next day I went to work. I work in downtown Manhattan. And I had made an appointment because my ears were ringing with this guy who cleans and checks my ears. I hadn't been to him in 2 years. And that's right, I had some dental work done, and the ringing happened after that. And it's still there. And so I figured, okay, don't mess around, go check my ears. I was thinking about my son. I knew he was at school. He was supposed to be at school that day, and I hadn't heard from him yet. I knew bills were coming. The doctor checked me. Pretty much where I was 2 years ago. I went back to my office. And I had been working very hard on the guitar, just between you and I, like to find my own freedom. I want to play free. I want to not have to know or rely on licks or scales or anything. Just be able to hear the changes and play them what I want. So I had been working on this way of governing the fretboard to kind of make it as simple as possible. And this was the stuff I was showing to Forrest, and we were, we played guitars together. And he was playing jazz and standards, and we were able to really start to communicate musically. man, I'm just going to not let go of that very lightly. Um, and so that day, towards the end of that day, my mates at where I work, a bass player and a drummer, said, "Hey, let's play." And to be honest, I avoid playing a lot. You know, I have been working so hard to try to free myself. And all last year, I developed this system, and I'd been working with in a workshop and composing and practicing. 4 to 6 hours a day is what I do. And it was just for this last few years, but it escalated. And it's because I wanted this breakthrough. And it came. And it came right at that time in the summer. And I played with those guys at night, or it was, I guess, around 5 or 6 o'clock. And what else did I do? But anyway, one of the guys said, "Wow, your playing has really changed. It's really," and I knew he was telling me that he had recognized that I had assimilated the fretboard to a degree that I could play whatever I wanted. And I left there that day going, I graduated myself from my, at least that part of my education. I really feel like had accomplished it with the gig that I did during the summer, and even sharing my teachers with Forrest. He went to a workshop with two of the best guitar players in the world, and awesome, really approachable guys who sort of just distilled their thing down. So I was just so excited for him. And he would tell me all the time, like he was working on A Train and Girl from Ipanema. And like I said, I haven't even been able to play those tunes. Two of the most probably requested tunes. Doesn't matter. So much less matters to me now. And I realize that because Forrest was the only person that I was really trying to impress. Just to show him that you can grow old and strong and get stronger at what you do and wiser and experience more and more richness. That's kind of like the opportunity we have when we age. We can take in a lot of details, especially if we're really good to ourselves, really good to our bodies and our minds, so that we're able to enjoy it and not breaking down too early. I would be so psyched to get together with my son. I've just done 6 months of jiu-jitsu, and we would have a whole nother level of things. Yeah, so anyway, what's weird is I got paid the most money, and I got a compliment that I knew was genuine about something that could only have come to me via the predictable route I took, which was just like shedding, working on this material, finding a way through chord changes so they didn't surprise me, and then letting all of that go. Uh, and then later that night, I don't remember what I did after that. I left there. I left work. I did something though. Maybe I went to, I don't know, I did something. Can't remember what it was, but it was important. But I do remember being in my bedroom. It was like 11:30. And I was playing my guitar because I have a nylon string silent thing over there, and I'll watch like crappy, like cop shows or something like that. Can't even remember what it was, but it was something really escapist. And my phone rang, and it was my tenant who lives upstate. And he said a policeman was looking for me. So I called the number, and he said, "You need to call Homicide Atlanta, Marietta." So I already knew something was very wrong. So I called, identified myself, and the homicide detective, was sorry to inform me that my son was deceased. I bet this guy's got to do this a lot. And he was wondering which way I would go. I had two thoughts right then. One is that I will not let this destroy me. And the other one is I did everything that I could. I don't even know what order those came in. It was just boom. And then how? And before he told me, I was like, oh, a fight, a car accident. Drugs. No foul play. How did you know? I asked him, how do you know? And he said, we found the drugs and the thing on him. Later I found out that his roommates tried to revive him because they found him the next day. Most of you all are found, slumped, in the bathroom, on the toilet, in your bedroom. My son was laying down, flat, his hands on his chest, with his earbuds in, listening to music, dying on heroin or fentanyl, whatever, you know. Please don't take any comfort in how dangerous fentanyl is. If you're willing to shoot heroin and you die of fentanyl, it's, you know, can happen with either one. It only happens because you're shooting heroin. So. Fuck, 6 months. I had no one to share my secret life with. You know, not the jujitsu moves or the strategies of life or the chords, the way to process music on the guitar or with your voice, or how to write lyrics, write a paper, an essay, an argument, propose a position, a solution, be here. I still haven't said goodbye. And there's no one left, you know. I don't care to impress or to reach or connect with anyone else. You know, since I feel like this has been the outcome of my fatherhood to my son, you know, I don't care. I miss you so